Assalamu alaikum, respected brothers and sisters. Welcome to our channel today. We will delve into it's a time for prayer during this glorious month of fasting. And Muslims fast not only to remind themselves of those who are less fortunate than them, but also to grow closer to Allah by performing acts of memory in accordance with His guidance. It's a period when Muslims ask for forgiveness from one another in the belief that doing so will earn them rewards in heaven from Allah. To the new regulations, mosques are not permitted to make use of loudspeakers, broadcast prayers, or provide iftar. The Saudi Ministry of Islamic Affairs has released new guidelines for Ramadan, which have displeased a significant number of Muslims all around the world. An expert by the name Sami Hamdi believes that these alterations indicate a trend towards a new identity for Saudi Arabia. One that does not prioritize Islam as a primary foundation. On Twitter, Hamdi articulated this viewpoint by writing that he believes MBS is pushing Islam out of the public life. For the observance of the holy month of Ramadan in 2023, the Islamic Ministry released a set of norms and restrictions that can be seen here. The use of the loudspeakers, performing itikaf without proper identification, broadcasting prayers, and eating iftar within mosques are all prohibited by these guidelines. The new guidelines will take effect in 2023 and bar both monetary donations to mosques and the serving of iftar meals in places of worship after the sun has set. In addition, worshippers are obliged to keep their prayers brief. Children are not permitted to pray inside mosques, and attendances are responsible for bringing their identification credentials. The noise levels are to be kept low, and prayers are not allowed to be broadcasted, with the exception of the largest mosques in both Mecca and Medina. The new regulations include that prayers should not go on for too long, that specific petitions should be made throughout. It's also recommended that you read books on the mosque group that provide information that's helpful. If there are cameras present in the mosque, they should not be utilized to capture images of the worshippers or the imam while they are in the prayer area. It's inappropriate for the media to broadcast people praying. Those individuals who wish to perform itikaf in the mosque must first receive permission from the mosque's imam. It's inappropriate to solicit monetary contribution for initiatives that aim to provide food to persons who are fasting. People who are fasting should only consume food in spaces that are specifically allocated for that purpose, and then those areas should be cleaned thoroughly afterward. According to the new regulations, there should be no makeshift rooms or tents erected for the iftar meal. Following the publication of the ruling on Twitter, one user voiced their displeasure with certain aspects of it, while also acknowledging the validity of the reasoning behind other aspects. According to him, the paper seems to involve censorship, but also emphasizes that Muslims who are not from Saudi Arabia should not be subject to any limitations throughout the month of Ramadan. It's crucial to provide small tents where people may gather, socialize, and interact, he noted while requesting to treat all Muslims equally, regardless of their nationality or culture, as Ramadan is a time of devotion and celebration. One user referred to it as pathetic nonsense, and another user saw it as another attempt to slowly remove Islam. The phrase, "It's time to put an end to evil absolutist monarchy," which was contributed by another user, is applicable here. The 9th month of the Islamic calendar is known as the month of Ramadan, and Muslims all over the world regard this month as the most significant month of the year. During this month, individuals abstain from eating, drinking, and other activities that need them to have a bodily need, and they fast every day from sunrise to sunset. A time for spiritual introspection, self-improvement, and devoted service to Allah. Ramadan is observed by Muslims worldwide. One of the 5 pillars of Islam, which are the fundamental acts of worship that are required of all Muslims, is to abstain from food and drink throughout the month of Ramadan. The beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, also known as Ramazan, will take place on March 22nd of this year. The ninth month of the Islamic calendar is known as the month of Ramadan, and Muslims all over the world regard this month as the most significant month of the year. During this month, individuals abstain from eating, drinking, and other activities that need them to have a bodily need, and they fast every day from sunrise to sunset. You can learn more about what Ramadan is and why it's vital to fast throughout this holy month. Observance of Ramadan, the holy month. The month of Ramadan is a time for devoting oneself to Allah, spiritual introspection, and personal growth. As it's claimed that the first lines of the Quran were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad during this month of the Islamic calendar. It's the month that is regarded as the holiest of all months in the Islamic calendar. During the month of Ramadan, Muslims all around the world spend the holy month by abstaining from food and drink, praying and performing acts of charity and goodwill. The importance of abstaining from food during Ramadan. One of the 5 pillars of Islam, which are the fundamental acts of worship that are required of all Muslims, is to abstain from food and drink throughout the month of Ramadan. In addition to being a physical act, fasting is also a spiritual act that has the purpose of drawing individuals closer to their relationship with Allah. There are various reasons why it is vital to observe the fast during the month of Ramadan, including the following. In order to display devotion to Allah. During the month of Ramadan, fasting is considered an act of worship that demonstrates one's devotion to Allah. This is a means by which they can express their thanks to Allah for the gifts that He bestowed upon them. To train oneself in the art of self-discipline. The practice of fasting during the month of Ramadan involves a high level of self-discipline and control. They learn to control their urges to satisfy their bodies in order to concentrate on the health of their spirits. To feel compassion for those who are less fortunate. During the holy month of Ramadan, it's customary for Muslims to abstain from eating and drinking from dawn until sunset. You can better comprehend the challenges of those who do not have enough to eat or drink by putting yourself in their shoes and experiencing hunger and thirst for yourself. For the purification of the soul. It's claimed that participating in Ramadan fasting might assist to cleanse the soul and heighten one's awareness of the spiritual world. It's a moment to examine your behavior and ask for forgiveness for the wrongs you have committed. To improve relationship within the family and the community. During the holy month of Ramadan, families and communities all around the world gather together to break their fasts and eat together. It's a time to get closer to the people you care about and establish stronger connections with them. And you should eat and drink until the white thread, light of the morning, appears to you, different from the black thread. And then you should finish your fast till the evening. And during the time that you are performing itikaf in the mosques, you are not allowed to have any sexual intercourse with your wives. Allah has established these boundaries. Thus you should not approach them. In this manner does Allah make clear to the mankind His signs, so that they may become al-muttaqun, the righteous. Verily, it was on the night of Al-Qadr that we sent it down to earth. Allah is seeing everything and is looking out for everyone. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more.